Hello and welcome to another episode of TRT World, a special program where we highlight the efforts of international search and rescue teams present here in Türkiye. Right now we are at the Operations and Command Center of USAID, located here in Adiyaman, Türkiye, which is one of the worst affected areas. We're going to show you this place and also speak to USAID officials. Here I have with me Frank Infante. Frank, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity one more time. It's really good to see you again. I was wondering if you can give a tour to our audience first, where we are, what is it all about? So if you can take us on a walk.
Sure. We're at what we call our BOO, or base of operation, and it is kind of the hub where all our operations come from. And from here, we launch and we provide the life-saving mission that the local government would like us to do, whether it's search and rescue, structure assessment, coordination. All those things start from here, and I can give you a tour of the base and the different components of what makes up our base of operation.
I see a lot of tents here, so if you can take us to some of the tents.
Let's start on this one over here.
Okay.
As you can see, we are jointly working with the United Nations USARC Coordination Cell. A big part of these type of large-scale disasters is coordination of our international resources, and that's where they come in. We're not only doing a sector, which is usually a city or a part of a city, sector coordination cell, which we are leading right now with the local government assisting where they need it, but the larger coordination cell is here based in our base of operations to have better communication and have more effective use of our resources we have. Why don't we come in and we can talk to some of the people in here. Come on in.
Thank you. Hey, hi there.
Hi, these are the members of the USARC Coordination Cell, and then I'll let one of them, my colleague Chip Gamble, introduce them and have some people to speak to.
Sure. Thank you very much. Hey, Gamble.
Hello, sir.
About this place.
Well, this is the USARC Coordination Cell. This is where the coordination for all of the sectors in the affected area happens. This is our team leader, Solveig, and this is our link to the international humanitarian community, our UNDAC, through the UN, Haruka, and we have Frisi, Svava, and Lali, and together we're working collectively to help coordinate all of the teams in the field, but you might want to talk to Solveig about any more specific questions.
A bigger overview.
Absolutely. Hey, Solveig, so what more can you tell us about the operations that you're conducting here?
Well, we've been here in Turkey basically since day one or day two, and so we've been contacting all the teams and setting up a coordination mechanism. We've set up 10 what we call sectors in different cities and locations, and we work with them, and then they work with the teams, and everybody works with AFAD to make sure that we have a strong link between the international and the national coordination structure, and it's been going really well.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Frank, this is just one of many tents that you have here, so why don't we go and explore the other ones as well?
Yeah, you are starting from the brain of the international operation, and then we're going to take it back down to just our team's base of operation and the different tents on how we are able to be more effective.
All right, let's take a walk. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
So a big part of it, operations is connectivity, whether it's communication, Wi-Fi. A lot of that comes from our satellites. So a big thing here, the yellow tape, is to make sure that we stay away because it's dangerous. We also have our BGANs, and we have our Wi-Fi all set up to get that communication. As you probably know, is one of the most critical pieces in disasters, to communicate with each other, with local government, national government, and our international partners. So we'll start right now with our one of our biggest assets in the initial phases, in the search phase, which is our canines. Yes. So our canines are a large part of it. They've been working tirelessly on the piles, and some of them have started getting injured just from the repeated work that they're doing on these rubble piles. And we've had some minor injuries, but it has not stopped them. They live to do this. And I'm going to take you into the tent where we keep them and their handlers. The handler is usually the person that owns the dog, and they work side by side as one unit.
Wow, you know, and I always say these dogs, these canines, are the unspoken heroes. They play such a crucial role in all these rescue and search operations. After you.
All right, come on in.
Okay, so right now we are going to a tent where the USAID officials basically keep their canine dogs. All right.
Come on, these are our canine handlers. There's JP Helsepick and his dog, Bond. This is Bond.
Hey.
Finish. Wait. This is Bond. Bond's one of the 6 dogs that we bring. As you can see, they are highly energetic and have lots of energy. That's really good for jumping around on the piles and being able to search and find people. The dogs have been hard at work over the last several days searching for people, and they deserve a good rest every once in a while. And yeah, the dogs are absolutely amazing.
He is, and he's also very cute. Hey, Bond. Yeah. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing here in Turkey. So he's just one of the many canines that you have.
Bob George is another handler with his dog Shadow, and Jake Armendariz with his dog Clancy, and
Corey with Diva. I got Diva.
Wow. Diva.
Yes.
And as I stated, you know what? Just like us, you know, the dogs physically, mentally, they're challenged, and we've had some injuries.
They need to rest.
Yep, and we've had some injuries. And fortunate for us, the medical tent will be going in later. The doctors and our paramedics are trained in emergency canine veterinary medicine to treat the injuries from minor to serious ones, but it hasn't stopped the dogs. And as far as how the injuries, you know, will it stop the dogs? It's best to ask one of the handlers here, you know, what happens when one of the dogs gets injured.
Absolutely, we'd love to. So, yeah, what happens when they get injured, and how important is it for them to rest?
So if they get injured, obviously the handler, and we usually have 2 out there, we're going to take care of the dog first. We'll make sure we get him back here. We'll get him checked with the vet, and then the best thing is to get him rest. And so far, we've been lucky. We've only had minor injuries, and the dogs have all performed really well.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all the canine dogs that you have here.
They live for this, so you know they live for this, and I think all the handlers can attest to it that the dogs, it's a passion for them. Yeah, they wouldn't want to do anything else.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, folks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So. Yeah, you know, I think it's also important for our audience to know that it's very important for these canines to rest because at times, you know, we only care about human beings, but we forget that these animals also have a heart, they have a brain, they have a body, and, you know, it gets tired.
They do. And one of the other things is they always, you know, when their paws start getting raw or they start getting cuts, you know, one of the first questions is, why don't you put boots or some type of shoes on the dogs? Well, it doesn't work because they lose their dexterity. So if they start slipping and they slip on concrete and they're not able to catch themselves, the trauma and the injuries could even be worse because now they don't have the ability to have the balance and the agility that they need. So that's one of the biggest and the number one question that comes up. Then why don't you put shoes on them? That's the reason why.
All right.
Okay.
So what more are you going to show us here at this place?
We're going to show you another critical piece of the life-saving mission out in the city, but also that we bring for us for our own personal health is our medical tent. Our doctors are emergency room doctors from the United States, highly trained, working in some of the busiest hospitals in Southern California. So you can just imagine the type of the various injuries that they see in an emergency room throughout, whether it's major trauma to major critical issues. They are highly trained. With them work our paramedics, and they're here to take care. And like I said, they're here to take care of the dogs. They're also trained in veterinary medicine, emergency canine, for emergency canine issues. Let's walk in.
Sure, let's go. So this is the medical tent.
This is the medical tent. This is where they stay, but it's also our treatment area. I have Dr. Patel and Dr. Whitfield, and they can give you more
Jaffar.
on our capacities.
Hey.
Really nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
And we'll have Dr. Whitfield could give you more on the capacities and the things they can do for us, and also the things they can do for the citizens out in the city.
Absolutely. Hi. Yes, what more can you tell us?
Yes, this is our medical facility here, and so we set it up with the capability to have ICU care so that we can do immediate stabilization of any injured patients or anyone with critical needs. We take care of everyone on our team, and in addition, we could have the potential to take care of anyone that required our services.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Pradale, I have a question for you. How challenging is it for you to operate in such an environment? Because right now you're not in a hospital, this is a tent.
Yeah, this is extremely challenging for us. This is not our normal environment, but as part of our processes, we actually train on a very regular basis. We're a highly motivated group of people, and because we're aware this is not our usual environment, we train just that much harder to become familiar with this environment.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the work that you do back in California, also here as well. Thanks a lot, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a walk outside now.
Yep.
So it's such a big, the first thing that crosses my mind right now is that this is a huge place, it's a pretty big operation.
It is. So as you can see, we have tents, we have heat, we need facilities to use the restroom, and we need lighting, electricity. We wouldn't be able to even accomplish any of the missions that the local government would want us to do without having the support, and the support that is the logistical support. So our logistics manager and the logistics to bring 77 people, 150 here with all these tents and the ability to be self-sufficient for 3 weeks is a monumental task. And I'm going to introduce you to the two people that make sure that this happens for all of us. So we'll go over here and we'll talk to our logistics managers, and they can give you more on how this happens and the things that need to be done to keep all of us in the ability to work in these austere conditions.
So this is the command center.
This is the command center, and I'm going to introduce you to the leadership here that makes the decisions and makes sure that we stay safe. So we'll start with Brad Weissup. He's our technical information specialist. Anthony Bazzario, one of our plans managers for USAID Search and Rescue. Michael Goodshow, also another plans manager. And leading this operation for USAID Search and Rescue is Task Force Leader Brian Wells. We have our medical doctors, which are our medical team managers, Dr. Boson, Dr. Patel, and as we stated before, none of this would be here. We wouldn't even be able to function without our logistics managers, logistic manager Bradley and logistic manager Robbie Metro.
All right, thank you very much.
You're
Folks,
welcome.
I have a lot of questions for you. Bradley, you are doing the logistics here, right? And Frank just gave me a tour of this place. This is a huge operation. How do you manage the logistics here?
Well, it's a joint base of operations with USA 2, USA 1, DART, the Disaster Assistance Group from USAID, and the UCC as well. So it's a cooperative effort, and the goal, we have a robust system here, but the goal is really to provide for rescue. So everything that we have is to provide comfort and warmth for our rescuers to come in, recover, and then get back out and provide for rescue.
And what are some of the biggest challenges when it comes to logistics here?
Well, basically getting 65,000 pounds of equipment halfway across the world is the biggest challenge. Then once we get here, we'll be able to get teams out to do search and rescue, as well as keep people here to give them all the needs that they have. So being able to get an entire, basically, city set up within about 10 hours for everybody to come back to is a huge operation. And then providing all the comfort needs and then the food and water as the mission goes on has been quite an operation.
Thank you. And now I want to talk about the rescue operations that you are conducting here. I see this screen right behind me. If someone can explain what this screen is all about.
Sure. We actually have a couple different dashboards that we're looking at here. And here's a damage assessment survey across the city of Adiyaman right here. So you can kind of see the light color here are minor damage buildings, with the purple being the most damaged. So you can see right through the city center where we have the most impact. And that helps guide some of our search and rescue missions by figuring out where the most impact is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Now I'm going to ask the planning expert, how do you plan these operations? That's like the most basic question I have for you.
Well, we manage our personnel and break them up into units that are appropriate for the specific mission that we're asked to do by the locals that are in this area. So we divide up the missions from a central point that gives us certain missions, and then we go out, we do assessments that you saw on the map previously, And then based on the assessments, we determine the severity of the most viable life positions in the city. And then we focus our attention there, and we start attacking those areas that are most viable. And then we give that data back to the INSAROG cell, the UCC, and they distribute that to other teams if there's more need than just what our team can handle.
And this might be difficult to tell, but if you can give us an estimate, how long does it take you to plan an operation?
So we really don't have a lot of time to plan an operation, because once we get, usually comes by email to us, we already have teams that are pre-designated to go out, and with the training they've already had from the past, they all have a basic idea of what we're going to be doing when we're here already, so that we get them started up, they go out, and they look at the site, they assess with dogs and sounding equipment, and seeing what they have available as far as help around, as far as heavy equipment, cranes, all these other things. And from that point, they decide how they're going to attack it, and they start working the problems that they have on the site, and whether they're going to get a recovery or a live rescue. They just keep working until they get to a point where they feel like it's not going to be a viable victim or anything like that. With dogs, the dogs will smell. They're live scent dogs, so they run the dogs, and the dogs will, if they hit, they continue to work. Once they stop hitting, we call it, or once they stop getting the live scent, then usually the guys will stop working at that point and move on to the next assignment. So that's how it basically works.
Quite a complicated process. Would you like to add anything?
No, sir. It's just a continuing process that evolves, and we're here to serve the local, jurisdiction and the people of Turkey. And the U.S. government sent us here to do the best we can for the most amount of people. So.
Right, and I'm sure the locals here are grateful to all of you for what you're doing here. I want to move forward.
Very gracious. So the people of Turkey have been wonderful to us.
Thank you. I want to move to the decision-making process. I've been in Adiyaman for the past 4 days, and what I have noticed, almost every building in this city is either totally or partially damaged. This is what I have seen. Now, I'm assuming there might be people trapped under the rubble in almost all those damaged buildings. How do you decide which building to go to?
Probably what they mentioned a little bit, but a lot of it has to do with people on scene. People on scene trying to get their loved ones. Maybe they were already speaking with their loved ones who may have been trapped, or working to get their loved ones, and they just couldn't get past maybe some steel or some other concrete, and then we would come in and be able to use our tools. But we need to know where those loved ones are. And so we would find people who perhaps are on a pile or on a building that has been collapsed, and start working with them to say, hey, what do you have? Do you consider there's somebody in the building? Yes, my loved one is in the building, and we would work with them to get information, find out where they might be, and then, as I said, run the dogs, run our listening devices and our cameras. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of buildings that are down, so just to drive around and pick a building might end up being a lot of work for very little reward. So we are looking for those opportunistic places where people are working to get them out. So we need to know where the people are by the locals who are working on those piles.
As I understand, it's a very, very tough decision-making process, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As you said, there's thousands of buildings that are down, so it's not an easy process to be able to just go in and start on a building. We need to have some sort of intel that there's somebody there.
All right. Thank you very much. Now I want to talk about the health component here, which is perhaps one of the most important one. Dr. Patel, I would like to begin with you. We have been hearing about miracles happen throughout Türkiye after this earthquake struck the country. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, ideally, it's highly unlikely for anyone to survive beyond 72 hours without food and water, right? So what factors contribute to producing a miracle? What is your navigation through this?
Yeah, this is sort of a multifactorial decision that goes into the outcome. The human body can survive sometimes up to 7 days without any food, but to survive 7 days without water is almost scientifically miraculous. And so when you look at these these survivors who are coming out this many hours out from the initial event, it's a combination of a number of things. The conditions under which they were trapped that prevented them from freezing to death, from dehydrating to the point of their kidneys failing, from making sure that these people don't have underlying medical conditions that would have made it very hard for them to survive. And this is, extreme circumstances like this highlight some sort of the boundaries, the sort of extreme boundaries that the human condition exists within. So it's a complicated answer.
It is possible scientifically.
I would agree. It is possible. And I think our idea of what is possible continues to evolve as we understand the body more.
But highly unlikely.
Extremely unlikely, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we are hoping for more and more miracles to happen throughout Turkey. And I think it also gives a lot of hope to the people of this country and even, the international folks that are here to help in rescue and search efforts. And I have another question about mental health, because I think that is perhaps one of the most important topics, not just for our audience here at TRT World, but for you folks here. Because, see, I have received messages from my own friends and family. They have been telling me that the pictures that they are seeing on television these days are heartbreaking, and certainly that has taken a toll on their mental health. But rescue workers here are the people who actually establish the first contact with those people who are trapped under the rubble. So, Doctor, if they come to you with a complaint about their mental health, what do you tell them?
Well, thank you for asking this question, because mental health of our team members is so important to us. And we come here with a strong purpose to help as many people as possible. But obviously, our team witnesses a lot of tragedy, as everyone is with this event. As medical team managers and as part of the medical team, it is our goal to maintain both the physical and mental health of our team. And we do that through multiple ways. First of all, we have eyes on our team every single day to check on them. We encourage mental health practices, including healthy sleep as much as we can, as well as mindfulness practices, and connecting them with their support system, like their family, making sure they don't lose those support systems. And in addition, we have a very strong peer support group here through our task force, and it's important to have peers as well as the medical team checking in on each other, the team members checking in on each other and making sure each other are okay. And I know Mike left. Mike is one of our...
This is an active operations center.
So he had to go, but Mike is one of our peer support folks, and we have multiple here to help each other get through this.
Since I'm lucky enough to have two doctors standing in front of me, I want to ask you this question on behalf of my audience. What we are seeing over the past 2 weeks on television is certainly heartbreaking, and I'm sure it has taken a toll on their mental health as well. As doctors, what would be your advice to them?
I think the most important thing, in these tragedies is to connect with the people that help support you, right? We need to come together and get each other through this.
To come together and get each other through this. Thank you very much, all of you, for giving us this opportunity.
I think there's another big component that we need to talk about.
Sure.
Is our structure specialist.
Absolutely.
This is Svensson. Missions in the past, when we've had disasters like this, we've assisted the local government in rebuilding the infrastructure, checking the building assessments, and I think he's going to give you some good information on the other capacities and other humanitarian efforts that we can do as USAID Search and Rescue.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and thanks for doing that. Hey, I'm good. Thank you very much. So tell us more.
So there's 7 of us that are structure specialists that are part of the team. So we come with initial mission to help keep the team safe if you're going in a collapsed structure, designing shoring, or helping the team assess the dangers. But as the mission evolves toward a humanitarian mission, in the past we've also had the opportunity, because right now shelter on the street is one of the biggest needs. You see people, there's a lot of food and there's a lot of water.
And that's something that I've noticed as well. There are people who are huddling on the streets.
Right. And so the question of whether it's safe to go back inside their houses or when it should be safe, or people may want to get some belongings and go back out. So we did a little bit of that today, talking to people on the streets. And I know there's a lot of Turkish engineers that are part of that. But we have that capacity, and we're just here to help however we can. So if that's one of the ways we could help, we'd love to do it.
All right. Cool. Thank you very much. And thank you very much once again to all of you for giving us this opportunity. And that's all for now. For this episode. We'll be back with you with another episode very soon.